Come August 31st against Miami, we're not going to be surprised at wide receiver if we don't see Fields, Pauling, Greathouse, Faison. Amongst the other wide receivers in spring, is anybody making a push for playing time?
I thought KK Smith looked pretty good, and this is what Mike Denbrock has been saying going back to last year when he compared him to Will Fuller, right? It's like this guy just has something about getting open. He's twitchy. I mean, you look at him out there, and he looks kind of small, honestly. He looks like maybe he could still be playing in high school. But again, I kind of like these smaller receivers that they find space out there against defenses. And Notre Dame was actually playing some zone, even on 7-on-7, where KK Smith, before the scrimmage on Saturday, kind of made a couple of his best catches. Notre Dame was playing zone because they're trying to figure out how to play zone in this Chris Ash defense. And KK Smith just finds pockets in the zone, gets open. That's what this is all about. And I've loved that the Notre Dame wide receivers this spring, you hear it from Logan Saldate, you hear it from Jaden Greathouse, you're seeing it from KK Smith. Playing wide receiver is about getting open. It's about separating. It's about giving your quarterback a chance to see you downfield and a chance to say, hey, that guy's open. I'm going to throw him the ball. Because if a quarterback, we don't know who the starter is going to be at Notre Dame, so they're still trying to figure this out. They're trying to find confidence within themselves, the quarterbacks are, to say, hey, I'm going to make this throw because it's going to get completed, and the coaches are going to say, hey, yep, we saw that one. If you're not open, the quarterback's going to have some hesitancy, and you're going to see some of those scrambles that I was talking about earlier. But with KK Smith, he's getting open. He's finding pockets in the zone. He's beating man coverage as well. I think, like you said, there's a core 4 wide receivers. If you count Fields, Pauling, Greathouse, Faison, you're going to see those guys. But you're going to have to see somebody else as well. I think KK Smith is healthy. He's getting open. He's making catches. If there's 5 guys in the mix, he's probably the 5th. If there's 6 or 7 guys in the mix, he's absolutely one of those 5 to 7 there at the tail end of that. So I think you're finally going to see a little bit of a breakout from KK Smith this season.
Let me go to the defensive side of the football. The last week, there's been a lot of buzz about Jaylend Sneed. We've heard that he's added on over 10 pounds, but it doesn't sound like, Tyler, it's taking away from his speed and athleticism.
He made the first splash play for the Notre Dame defense in that scrimmage, and it was really early on. It might have been one of the first couple of plays where Notre Dame throws a little swing screen out to Jadarian Price in the flat, and Jaylend Sneed recognized it, got out there, made the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. And like you said, Darren, that's with carrying this extra weight that he's up into the mid 230s. So look, I said last week on one of our Blue and Gold YouTube video shows, like, if this extra weight takes away from what he always had to begin with, we all fell in love with Jaylend Sneed, the recruit, because he was twitchy and fast. And, you know, he reminded us of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, right? Like he could do all of these things that a normal linebacker can't. If he is now a normal linebacker size, which he is, I saw it on Saturday, he looks big, and he's also still as fast as he was when we fell in love with him as a recruit, then I think he's going to be an every down type of linebacker for this Notre Dame team. And that's what they're trying to get out of him. You saw Drake Bowen go out there playing middle linebacker like he did last year for Notre Dame as a starter. Jack Kaiser was obviously Notre Dame's go-to will linebacker, weak side linebacker last season. I think now it's Jaylend Sneed. You saw in the scrimmage that he ran out there with Drake Bowen, and those two guys played in tandem a lot when Notre Dame was in its 4-2-5 nickel look. So whether or not it's 4-2-5, whether or not it's a base 4-3, I think Jaylend Sneed is absolutely one of your 2 or 3 best linebackers on this team right now, given that he is the only senior. He's got the most experience by years, and now I think he's tapping into the potential that he always had. And Marcus Freeman said that in the post-practice press conference when he said he's always been talented. Now he's truly tapping into that talent and trying to get the most out of it, and that comes with the weight increase. That comes with just doing all the little things that make you a really good linebacker. Sometimes it takes until your true senior year to play your true best football, and maybe we'll see that out of Jaylend Sneed this season.
Don Schuler needs a new running mate at safety with Xavier Watts getting ready to go to the National Football League. Is the competition in a good place right now?
Yeah, and that is with Jalen Stroman, the Virginia Tech transfer, being sidelined with, I believe it's a clavicle injury for him. So he's out, and you got all these younger guys in there trying to do exactly what a Don Schuler did, ironically, last season when Rod Hurd I believe was still enrolled at Northwestern during spring ball. He was not able to come in and practice with the Fighting Irish at this time last year. So Don Schuler took it upon himself and he said, I'm going to get all these reps funneled to me and I'm going to make the most of them. And by summer or by fall, I'm going to show that I'm the best safety. It's exactly what he did. He was Notre Dame's starter last season in 2024. Right now, you're seeing it from Luke Talek. You're seeing it from Tae Johnson. I think Kennedy Urlacher made some really good plays in the scrimmage. Jadon Blair made a really good play in the scrimmage, a tackle at the line of scrimmage. So you didn't see these guys really get tested downfield in the scrimmage because Notre Dame didn't have much of a passing attack. I know that's not music to anybody's ears who's listening to this, but the offensive line is what it is. You're trying to figure out what you have in the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. So it was really kind of I don't want to call it a dumbed down scrimmage, but there was a lot going down between the tackles and at the line of scrimmage, trying to see who was winning there. And I'll tell you what, the Notre Dame safeties were winning there because they had no problem running up, making tackles. I saw Kennedy Urlacher make a really good play on Aeneas Williams, who we know is a really good player. They were trying to run outside right tackle, and Aeneas Williams thought, hey, if I can cut this up, I'm going to. Kennedy Urlacher kind of stayed in his gap and said, no, you're not going to cut it up. And then when Aeneas bounced it outside, Urlacher bounced outside with him and made a really good tackle. So you're seeing that from him. I thought Tae Johnson was the best at that in this spring scrimmage where he looked fearless. He looked like there wasn't anyone that he couldn't tackle, and it pretty much showed up that way. It didn't matter who had the ball. He was coming up and making really strong tackles, decisive tackles as well. There was no hesitancy there. So I mentioned 4 guys that I thought are playing really good football there at safety. And then, like I said at the beginning of all of it, you throw a healthy Jalen Stroman into the mix. And I wrote it at blueandgold.com last week. I truly think you can't go wrong with whoever's going to play at that safety spot that Xavier Watts left behind. And I also think it's going to be a lot of guys. I think they're going to use a pretty healthy rotation there, at least 2 or 3 of them.
Tae Johnson's busy working at safety, corner, and nickel right now in this Chris Ash defense.